Bitcoin is seeing quite a strong bounce back to the downside, and it seems like most people have fell for this Bitcoin bear trap once again. So that is what we need to discuss within today's update video, because this is the exact level from where Bitcoin has made the biggest moves of this bull market in the past. So a lot to discuss within today's update video, like all of the most important Bitcoin price data and charts, of course the new Bitcoin weekly close. We will discuss, or I will give an update on my Ethereum trading position, and of course my outlook for altcoins and the upcoming altcoin season. So from there guys, make sure to first of all subscribe to the channel and watch and like my latest YouTube videos, and then we can dive into the most important content. Since the it's over again bear trap is now playing out once again for Bitcoin, and this is the support line where Bitcoin has been bouncing from after all the major corrections this entire bull market. So I don't think it is going to be any different. This has been the line which has provided major support for Bitcoin this entire bull market, and in the it's over stage, a lot of people are getting shaken out, a lot of people are getting fearful, and a lot of people are exiting the markets, and that is the exact moment where the biggest Bitcoin moves start from. So I think that could be happening once again, and the first signals of this are now playing out, with Bitcoin seeing quite a big bounce back to the top side, and I think this bounce could be the starting point from off a major final wave for Bitcoin. But I do want to issue one major warning for the short term here for Bitcoin, and that is that once again we are seeing quite, or not a big, but we are seeing a rejection at this important level for Bitcoin. I do think if we could be flipping this into support, and if we could be moving higher, so breaking out, flip it into support and then move higher, it is going to be very bullish. But for now Bitcoin is still seeing somewhat of an pushback to the downside here. So let's see how this will be playing out. I do think if Bitcoin is going to find strength from here, we could see a major short squeeze. I will talk about that later in the update video, but I'm also still open for the scenario that Bitcoin is eventually going to drop a little bit lower. Also that is still possible, I personally think, before we are going to be heading higher. But this is indeed an important resistance level. But once Bitcoin is going to start moving, it is going to happen quite fast, because we have a lot of short liquidity piling up for Bitcoin at the top side. So once we're going to start moving, it is going to happen fast, and we could see quite a big Bitcoin push happen quickly. But also there is still a big possibility of a rejection for Bitcoin, and then eventually maybe even filling up the entire wick. But let's see about exactly that. I personally think it is still a bit risky now for Bitcoin here, but the market is starting to look much better, of course, after this major bounce from off this morning. So let's see how this is going to continue. Also, the weekly close is looking good in my opinion here. On this horizontal level on support, we've seen yet again another bounce and a good weekly close. So from here, we could possibly see continuation. You do see that Bitcoin is now getting rejected from off the lower band of the bull market support band. So that is looking interesting. And I would say if Bitcoin is going to reclaim the bull market support band, we could see more positive momentum and maybe even new all-time highs in the near future. Let's see about exactly that, but it is still quite uncertain. What we do know, and that is something I've been talking about a lot in all of my YouTube videos, is that I don't want to see Bitcoin losing the 50 daily moving average. I still think that it could be possible if Bitcoin is going to see another rejection here, that we come back to this level, to the 102k level probably, and then bounce even higher. If Bitcoin is going to break lower from there, it is going to be a major warning signal that potentially a new bear market is going to get started, because this level, the 50 daily moving average, we've always seen major bounces occur from this level this entire bull market, and we do know that once we break below this level, like we saw in 2021, probably a bear market is about to get started. So let's see about exactly that, but that is the most important level to me, where I'm keeping my eyes on. I'm closely watching that level, and of course I will keep you guys up to date about this level here on the channel. Then I do want to discuss a little bit of Bitcoin versus gold, because that is something we have been making some videos about here in the past. I think that the Bitcoin versus gold pair is looking very good here, because it is now heavily oversold on the Z-score. That is a little bit of a different indicator than the RSI. The RSI shows you momentum, the Z-score shows you how oversold the asset is compared to the statistical average, so it is a little bit different than the RSI, but they do conclude the same thing, and that is that now Bitcoin versus gold, the Bitcoin versus gold pair is very oversold, and that is historically seen a major buy opportunity for Bitcoin, because once Bitcoin versus gold gets this oversold on the Z-score, we usually do see a major period of outperformance from Bitcoin versus the gold price action. So I think we still have quite a bullish period ahead of us. If Bitcoin is going to hold above the 50 daily, then the macroeconomic environment here is looking very good for Bitcoin and risk assets, I personally think. So let's see about exactly that, but it is definitely going to get quite interesting here in the next few weeks. Like stated, this is crypto times to lead. I've made a video about this now. Gold is still leading, but I think gold could be seeing a cycle top or just a local top in the near future, and that's going to be the moment where Bitcoin will take the lead once again, because that is basically what we have seen this entire bull market. We've seen the Bitcoin leading phases and the phases where Bitcoin starts consolidating and gold starts moving higher. So or gold is leading or Bitcoin is leading. It's risk on or risk off, and I do think a risk on stage is getting very close here, and we are now in somewhat of the transitioning phase in the most bullish quarter of the year for Bitcoin basically, or for the cycle. So that is why I'm still bullish here for the next months and next weeks. Let's see about exactly that. But yeah, like stated, once gold starts consolidating, Bitcoin's taking the lead, then gold will see a new push, Bitcoin starts consolidating. This is what we have seen this entire bull market. So I don't think it is going to be any different if indeed gold is going to see a cycle top here. That is going to be an important one. If gold is, for example, just going to push to 5k or something like that, of course, that is going to be a different scenario. But for now, it seems very good for Bitcoin. Also, we saw the news coming out that the Federal Reserve is hosting a Bitcoin and crypto payments conference tomorrow. So let's see about exactly that. Potentially I could be live streaming this event. I think it is quite good to do so. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on anything about that upcoming Federal Reserve conference here. Could be getting quite interesting, of course. Another Bitcoin versus gold chart. We do know that once gold starts its move, so the first impulse for gold, after the first impulse, we usually see a Bitcoin lag of about 60 to 90 days before Bitcoin is going to start catching up. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be any different this time. I do think this chart is looking very good for Bitcoin also. And now I do want to give a big update on my Ethereum trading position, because now I'm back break even basically, which is of course quite nice because we have been in a big loss a few times, also in a big profit, but of course we have been in this position for quite a long time here over the last month. Now I'm building up to a position size of about 30k, so yes, I still want to add a little bit more here, but I am a little bit cautious with the market now because I'm seeing this major level for Bitcoin I was talking about here, major level of resistance. I do potentially think that we could be heading low before heading higher. Does not have to happen, but let's see about exactly that. And I am in my position because I have been slowly DCAing in here in this entire consolidation phase for ETH. So for me, it doesn't matter that much. If the market is going to start moving, it's fine because I'm in my position. If we are going to dump lower, I still have some limit orders open here at the 3.6 and 3.45 level. So I can be adding more to my trade. I'm covered and I'm protected on both sides of the market, and I think that is now the wisest thing to do here for this trade. Also, if you do want to join me with this trade or want to trade a lot of different altcoin pairs on LBANK here, make sure to check out this 20% deposit bonus and the chance to win some Apple products. You can find the link to join this campaign here in the description on this update video, so make sure to check it out. Here you can sign up and claim that bonus and all of the other benefits. Also, I'm hosting a giveaway on my X page where I'm giving away 1k in trading funds with LBANK here, so make sure to also come over to my X today and join the giveaway because I will be posting once again this afternoon, so make sure to check it out. Probably we will be announcing the winners next Monday in collaboration with LBANK. So yeah, make sure to check it out, guys, and then we can continue with our Ethereum analysis here. But before we do so, I quickly want to show where you are going to get redirected once you click on that page to claim your bonus. This is the exact page on LBANK where you can claim everything. You can sign up with my link here, you can claim your bonus and the chance to win some nice other benefits. Yeah, make sure to check it out here with the link in the description on this update video. And from there, I do want to continue with my Ethereum analysis, and I want to talk about Ethereum and the bull market support band, because Ethereum is now once again bouncing from off the bull market support band, and that is something we've seen before this major move to the top side on the weekly for Ethereum. And I think something similar could be happening once again. If Bitcoin is going to show some strength in the near future, I think it's going to be very bullish for Ethereum, and then in the ending stage of the cycle, Ethereum is going to take the spotlights again, and then after, maybe even altcoins. But what I do want to see for Ethereum, of course, I do want to see this bounce continuing. I do want to see Ethereum hitting my 5.3 and 6.4k targets, because these are my bull market targets. I've been talking about these targets for the longest time. In this reaccumulation phase on the bottom, we have been calling this entire Ethereum move up. We have been taking some profits, and now for our Ethereum trade, I think this 1.6.8 and the second Fibonacci levels are going to be huge resistance levels where between and also at I will be taking some profits on my Ethereum trading positions. But back to this chart, I do think somewhat of a final wave towards those levels could be getting started from exactly this bull market support band level. So let's see about that, because now we have seen the second wick here also, and that is something we also saw here before the major move higher. So does look very promising in my personal opinion. This Bitcoin versus Ethereum fractal is also looking very promising, with of course the comparison with the Bitcoin consolidation phase of 2024 and now Ethereum 2025. We saw a different reason for a big push lower. Here the yen carry trade crash, and now the Terrace 2.0 crash. Basically we saw a big liquidation wick where a lot of people got shaken out, then a bounce back higher, then once again a partial fill of the wick, also like we've seen now with Ethereum, and then we started heading higher. So very interesting comparison, and I do think this could be happening once again, but I'm also open to the fact, like stated earlier, that we see a full fill of the wick, or maybe even go a little bit lower. But yeah, this does look very good, I must say, and that is why, like earlier stated, I'm covered on both sides of the market. So yes, I do think this is a great moment to accumulate or open positions, but I think you should do a DCA like I'm doing here. I'm slowly scaling in. I have been taking this position over the last few months, all different entries, and now my average entry price is 4k, which I'm comfortable with. I do think it's fine. Of course, it's not the best, but it's fine. And also my DCA strat did make sure that I did not get liquidated at this major liquidation event. And that is the difference between DCAing in and enter your full position size just at one go. In my opinion, that is not very smart to do. Here Ethereum versus Bitcoin, also on the bull market support band. So here we are looking at the Ethereum versus USD pair, but the Ethereum versus Bitcoin pair is also showing some interesting stuff on the bull market support band, with this major bounce once again. For the Ethereum versus Bitcoin pair, I do think it could go a little bit different than the Ethereum versus USD pair, because I think Bitcoin still needs to see a final wave before Ethereum can be starting moving higher. And I think if that is going to happen, Ethereum versus Bitcoin is going to devalue more before eventually heading higher. Then we are going to see a liquidity grab under the bull market support band before heading higher, like we also saw in 2020 before the major 2021 Ethereum season basically. So that's what I'm currently thinking of the Ethereum versus Bitcoin pair. And from the Bitcoin dominance, I think we have made a clear cycle top, so it is still looking bullish for altcoins, but the Bitcoin dominance could be moving a little bit higher here, most definitely in the October month, before heading lower, because then Ethereum is going to take over and then altcoins once again. But I do want to be clear with this. I think we need to see in Bitcoin final wave, then Ethereum push hitting the 5k level or even higher, sustain those levels, move higher, and then there's going to be a window of outperformance for altcoins. But we need to see Ethereum starting to catch positive momentum first, and same can be said for Bitcoin. And guys, that was it for today's update video. I hope you guys enjoyed this update video. If you did so, make sure to smash on that like button, and then I will see you guys within my next update video tomorrow.